Hey everyone, how's it going? And welcome to another week of TCG News. As always, if you guys are looking for Forcible singles or sealed product, be sure to click the link in the description for Happy Little Hug Factory. They have pre-orders for the next set, as well as pre-orders for the next set of Caster Chronicles, so be sure to go check that out before it all sells out. And also brought to you by Play DKP Accessories with a magnetic playmat. If you're on the go, inside of a car and want to play Force of Will, or out in a park or anything like that, this magnetic playmat is perfect. It's really awesome. Be sure to click that link in the description. Use code TCG for 5% off of that. And yeah, we'll go ahead and jump right into it. First bit of news, if you guys are unfamiliar, there is an unofficial format for Pauper in Force of Will. Pauper is where you use common cards only, and with exceptions, and it adheres to a ban list and some extra rules as well. We've had a pinned article type thing on our website, tcgscrubs.com, which you can also go to for an article version of this news here. And that's had the Pauper rules and everything. That was started by J Ruler. However, everyone that has kept up that list has since moved on from the game. But luckily, someone came forward who wanted to help promote that format, and so they'll be working on it now. His name is Justin Dilgard, and he'll be working at what is now known as Commoner format. There's a Facebook group you guys can go join for that. We'll be updating the article with whatever findings he has as far as testing for the ban list and other different things like that. So be sure to check back to the website later on to see what he's updated it with. Next up, we got some info for the pre-release for Decisive Battle of Valhalla, and also some other promo information for Force of Will. The first thing is pre-release, which is going to be August 23rd, with the official release of the set being August 30th. So if you guys want to put that in your calendars or what have you. And we got our first look at the pre-release promo card and playmat, which you can see here. So those are pretty cool looking. And we also got our look at the buy box promo and buy two box promo. So the buy box promo you can see here is Satan, and the buy two box promo is Kaguya. So it looks like, yes, it is officially confirmed that there is a buy two box promo. Obviously, it's not 100% that it'll be locked behind two boxes again, but considering this is the third time they've done it, and the past two times were locked behind boxes, it's safe to assume that this will be as well until it's shown otherwise. So that's really unfortunate if they did choose to continue doing that. Especially, it was already surprising they chose to do that after the backlash of Time Spinning Witch and that whole kerfuffle. And even with the most previous one, there's huge problems with it not being distributed correctly to stores and different things like that, on top of it already being locked behind the boxes. So if they do this again, that's I think that's just a really bad move on their part. And on top of that, this card actually looks like it could be really good. It's a 3-cost quick cast that it's a resonator that goes on the field that also cancels any spell, which is actually really strong. It has also a random secondary effect that you guys can read into. But yeah, it's really, really strong. And especially post-rotation, once fluoride and all that goes away, I think this will be very needed, essentially, inside of a lot of decks. So we'll see what they do with that. If you guys are curious what the text on all these are, you can go check out the article version of the news where I have it all laid out. And also, we'll probably be going over it on the podcast this weekend. One other thing that was noticed was that all of these promos are dual colors. So that rose the conversation that we might be getting not necessarily dual stones, but stones that can produce more than one color in the upcoming set, which would fill up those 10 rare slots I think they would fill up. So that would be kind of cool. I still like the idea of stones that can produce other colors, but at a cost, such as no magic stone and stuff like that. So I'd be curious to see what they do. As long as it's not dual magic stones, I think we'll probably be good. Next up, in the Forcible Global Facebook group, Svetlana had posted, she's the owner of Games and Geek, who does a lot of the big Forcible and she was basically holding a Q&A where people could submit questions, and she would try and talk to the company to get answers for said questions. Sort of like a very indirect Q&A with the company like we used to have. So that was really cool. A lot of people answered with a lot of different comments, and so she's been sort of collecting those. We'll be talking to the company and getting what answers she can. We're not sure exactly when she'll do that or when we'll hear back from the company. She might have already done it, and we're just working on the company's timeline now. So it'd be cool to hear some of the answers to those questions, because there was a lot of interesting ones asked. And yeah, so we'll have to wait and see. The only prerequisite she had for the questions was that they be serious questions and not pertain to the common and uncommon reprints in the upcoming set. So as you guys may or may not know, with the Wanderer format for Force of Will was previously run pretty much by Jeff when he was at the company, so once he left, it lost all support from the company. After that was done, a player by the name of Benjamin Bargetsky started a Wanderer type format called Conquer, where he added a couple different rules, a new ban list, a bunch of erratas for cards, different things like that. And off that branched regular Wanderer format, where under the actual name Wanderer, people like Stephanie Shaw and Jeff Finnegan and such brought together to basically continue the Wanderer format as it was and add some extra rules and update the ban list. The most notable rule they added was adding Energize to all the old rulers and obviously banning a couple cards. And Stephanie Shaw just posted in the Facebook group that the ban list that they had, as well as the rules, basically the entire updated format they have, is officially adopted by every country in the EU that does Force of Will. So, since America doesn't have any tournaments going forward, outside of one New Frontiers tournament, if you guys see any Wanderer tournaments pop up with results, those are following those new Wanderer rules. So that'll be really cool to check out. Make sure you visit that Wanderer Facebook page so you can get those updated rules. We'll try and update something on our site maybe to go with it. But I thought that was really cool that they're able to take that initiative, get that going, and now it's actually being adopted officially across the world. Moving on to Caster Chronicles news, Caster Chronicles made a post announcing that their next set, Polar Knight, is actually going to be crossing over with Force of Will. So that means that their set, Caster Chronicles set, will have Force of Will characters and IP in it. So I thought that was really awesome. We don't know how much this will entail. Hopefully it's not just like grabbing Force of Will art and slapping it on there. Hopefully it's all new art with the Force of Will characters in a Caster Chronicles environment. We've seen stuff similar to this with the Caster Chronicles promos that used Force of Will characters, but this will be really cool because this is something that was kind of like promised or teased when Casters was first being announced, was that Casters would have Force of Will stuff and vice versa. So it's nice to see that actually coming to fruition. So I'm actually really excited to see where that goes. Now moving on to Argent Saga news. Argent Saga's Kickstarter is about to end. It'll end this Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And yeah, so if you guys were looking to get into that, make sure you do that before the Kickstarter ends. So far, they're able to unlock the Yuki promo exclusively on there, and their next goal is at $100,000, which will unlock a Kickstarter backer-only tournament, so you'd only be able to enter this tournament if you back the Kickstarter. And they're currently at 90,000, so it's entirely possible, at least at time of recording this, it's entirely possible they'll hit that 100 before the end of this, so be sure to back that before it ends. Speaking of ending, it looks like we're winding down on these spoiler cards for Argent Saga. If you guys have been following, we've been releasing daily or whenever we can videos following the Argent Saga spoiler releases, so be sure to check that out if you're curious. And we're winding down with the legendary cards for the most part, it looks like. And so those will finish up. I think we have about 8 cards left at the time of recording this, so that'll wind down here pretty soon. I'm curious what they'll do after the spoilers are done while waiting for the set to release as far as promotional stuff and cool hype factors. But yeah, it'll be cool to basically have this all together and check out all the cards in one place. Because we're really seeing the set sort of come together, what mechanics will be popping out. And so we'll finally be able to start testing, and Oscar and I hopefully start deck building a little bit with it, proxy some stuff, and do some stuff for the channel. And continuing with the Argent Saga, over the past while, they've had 2 different tournaments happen. One tournament had 46 people, I believe, while the other had 206. So these were really big tournaments, all things considered, especially since Argent Saga hasn't even launched yet. So that was really cool to see. But the cool takeaway that I want to show you guys was the pricing for it, which was metal cards. So first place would get a metal card of whatever it was. It's either a champion or spirit so far. And it would be gold for first place, silver for second, bronze for third, and then the remainder, I think it was for top 8 at least, got rainbow, which the rainbow actually was my favorite looking. Those are cool looking. And so you can kind of see right here, we have the champion and the I forget the name of the spirit, but Fizzy or something like that. And yeah, I just thought they looked cool, so I thought I'd show you guys, and it looks like that's a consistent thing they'll do, at least for the big tournaments that you go out for. and that's something I really like. And so you can lean out your deck and have like a metal champion, a metal spirit, and 5 metal towers if you got those on the Kickstarter. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. Some last little tidbits here before I close out. One was that this weekend is going to be, if you're in the Austin, Texas area, at Mothership Books and Games, we're going to be having an Argent Saga, an ARG playmat tournament for Force of Will. It'll be New Frontiers. It'll be really awesome. If you guys aren't there, we'll, obviously talk about it and say how everyone did and what decks we ran and stuff like that. So something to look forward to there. If you guys saw, there was no podcast this week. It'll be back as normal next week. We're just busy at a convention and stuff like that. So we're at RTX, and that's something we'll be talking about on the mini podcast. And the podcast itself will go over the spoiled cards from Force of Will, among other things. So that's something to look forward to. And last thing is just, in case you guys weren't aware, or if you're not on Facebook, Force of Will's on their official Facebook page have been doing, somewhat regular posts for the artwork for the new set. So you guys can take a look here. I'm going to just cycle through a couple of the cool ones real quick. But yeah, just so you guys can see kind of what they look like. And yeah, that's about all the news for today. Let me know what you guys think or if I missed anything. And we'll see you guys next week.